Hi, this is Nicole, Elissa, host of Perfect Your Love. And today we're going to talk with Helena Hart. I love talking with Helena. We always have an amazing conversation. And today, first of all, let me introduce you to Helena. Helena is a certified life and relationship coach. I always love to talk with Helena because you always have a lot of valuable things to say. So the number one thing that she does is that she helps women own their feminine magnetism and attract their partner, their ideal love life. So I'm excited to have you here. It's going to be an amazing conversation, and I can't wait.
Thank you so much, Nicole. We always have so much fun when we do these interviews and conversations. We kind of can't get enough of them because we have so much synergy around some of these really important topics, and we just feel like it's our mission to help women who are looking to improve their love lives. So thank you so much. I'm really excited to jump into this topic today.
Me too. Oh my goodness. All right. So ladies, today we're going to talk about how to actually get your love life moving in the right direction, right? Like if you feel like you've been stuck, you don't know how to get it going, you keep repeating the same pattern and you just want to break free from it, that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing that I wanted to talk to you or ask you is, if a woman is in this journey where she's starting to realize like, hey, like my thoughts and my feelings are creating a lot of things in my love life that I don't want. And she might be reading books. She might be like watching videos. She just doesn't know how to actually move it forward. What would be the first, or the starting point where you would have her look at and why?
That's such a great question. Well, if she's already at the point where she realizes that her beliefs and her thoughts are creating what she's experiencing, she is way ahead of the game, because I've really found that to be true. Our beliefs create our reality, not the other way around. So that's really the first step. If she doesn't realize that yet, taking a look at what is happening, what is she experiencing in her love life? And that's a great place to find out what your beliefs are, because believe me, they will be reflected back to you in the kind of men you attract, in the sort of experiences you're having in dating and relationships. So the next step would be, where does she want improvement? Where does she want to change? Where does she feel stuck? And then looking at her belief systems and her thought patterns and making some shifts so that she actually starts experiencing better men showing up in her life or better experiences in her relationship.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know why, but the first question that comes up for me when I hear you say that is, what would be like two of the main or crucial mindset shifts that she would have to take on for herself to really start seeing something new?
That's such a great question. And I love this is just like so impromptu right off the top of both of our heads. And so this is just so much fun talking about this topic. One belief I see in so many women, especially if they've been single for a long time, is this belief that they cannot have what they want. Either the type of man they want is not out there, or if he is, she can't attract him for whatever reason, or she might be able to attract him for a little while, but he doesn't stay. So that's the first one. The second belief I see that's not really working for the women who hold it is something about them not being enough in some way. Maybe not pretty enough, not smart enough, not accomplished enough. There's something internally that isn't enough, so to speak, for the kind of man they want.
Oh my God, you hit the nail so big. So my question here would be, so how does a woman start to own that she can have it, that she can have whatever she wants, and that she is good enough?
It's just such a huge conversation. When we think of our belief systems, to me, going back and thinking about undoing these deep-seated beliefs that were maybe created in childhood decades ago feels like a lot of work. It feels like kind of painful, not really motivating. And I've really found that you can make some shifts in your thought pattern right now that can get you some really dramatic, quick results. So I like to start from where you are. Now, of course, my background's in psychology. I have a master's degree in psychology. So of course, there is immense value in looking in your childhood where some of these beliefs were created. Of course, that's very helpful. But if you want to start shifting things right now, I like to start from where you are. And I believe that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. So in my experience, what I've seen in the lives of pretty much all of my clients, that negative belief or that negative thought won't affect you again unless you keep thinking it. So rather than thinking about having to go back and undo all of these deep-seated beliefs that may have taken decades to form, I just want you to think of it as changing the habit or changing the pattern of the thought, if that makes sense. I hope I'm being clear on that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So what is it that you would recommend for a woman to start believing that she can have it all and that she's good enough? Like what would be some new thoughts that she can integrate for herself or some new practices?
Yeah, great question. I have a practice that I call my miracle mindset practice in one of my programs called the Feminine Art of Attraction. It's about, matching your beliefs and to your desires, matching your energy to the energy of what you want. And what I recommend always is starting out general, because you don't want to introduce resistance into the equation. If you try and get too specific, you're going to introduce resistance. So you want to believe that anything is possible, but you don't want to reach further than you believe. So if you've been single for a long time and maybe you've been online dating and attracting men who aren't right for you or who you are not attracted to, if you were to say, there's an abundance of high quality men coming right to me, you might not believe that. That might kick in this voice in your head that says, no, there's not. What are you talking about? There's no good men out there, right? So in that case, I would back up and go more general. Something like, things are always working out for me. Everything's always working out for me. I've wanted things before and I've gotten them. So I know that everything's always working out for me. Things are unfolding the way they're supposed to. Things like that, starting really, really general and then getting more and more specific. Once you can kind of click into the certainty of some of these things, then go ahead and get more specific. But if you try to get real specific at the beginning, you're going to introduce resistance, because I really believe that the power of your desire is huge, but it's not big enough to overcome the resistance of your contradictory beliefs, if that makes sense. So if you have a desire for a great love life, or to attract a really high quality guy, but you don't believe that that's possible for you, you're going to have a hard time attracting that. Have you found that to be true as well?
I don't know if people saw, but when you first said you don't want to add resistance, I went yeah, because I've been there when I'm trying to where I've tried to force a totally opposing idea into my mind, and I would hear a thought, I'd be yeah, right, what are you talking about, right? Because when you add so much such a big concept to your subconscious mind, it immediately pushes back. So if we can sometimes kind of just ease our way into it, then it's a lot easier. I love that. I love that. And I love that you're saying that it's all about belief, right? And then just going up, going up, going up. Is there anything other than belief that you would recommend, any other sort of practice?
Yeah, great question. I always have women look at the story they're telling themselves. This is getting a little more specific after the beliefs. I truly believe the life we're living is directly created by the story we're telling ourselves. And this is an easy thing you can do. So what story have you been telling yourself? Are you complaining to your girlfriends constantly that there are no good men out there and all the good men are taken, or all men are liars or cheaters, or they don't want to commit? Whatever that story is, you're going to attract evidence to confirm the story you're telling. And it's another defense mechanism. Our brains are kind of hardwired to want to be right. So, if you have this belief, all men are cheaters, pretty common one I hear these days, right? You're going to go out there in the dating world and attract evidence to confirm that belief. So you can just say, oh, I was right all along. I was right to doubt myself, or I was right to be afraid of that because look, I got hurt again. The same thing happened again. So start shifting the story you're telling yourself in a way that shifts your emotion as you tell it, because you have to really get yourself feeling good and feeling secure before the right man's going to show up. Basically, if you're not feeling good on the way to it, it's not going to feel good when you get there. I can pretty much guarantee. Have you found that to be true as well?
Well, that's really powerful. Can you expand on that? if
Yeah,
you're not feeling good.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of times we think, okay, I'm gonna, and I know we're kind of fans of like law of attraction, and I'm a huge, proponent of the feminine energy side of things too. So I like to call this the feminine art of attraction, tapping into your feminine energy. We can talk some more about that too if you want to, bring some feminine energy principles into this.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel good on your way to it, it's not going to feel good when you get there. So a lot of times people are doing this. Let's say they create vision boards and they're visualizing and they're meditating and they're, doing their gratitude journals and all these things that they think they're supposed to do. If they're doing that because they're trying to make something happen, they're trying to get the guy to show up, they're trying to attract a high quality man, you're resonating more with the absence of what you want rather than the presence of what you want, right? I'm doing this visualization. I have this vision board because I want to make something happen. Making something happen is a very masculine energy quality, right? So you can't get there from there. You just can't. If you're doing all these things to try to make something happen, you are resonating more with the absence of what you want rather than the presence of what you want, and it can't show up. So you have to resonate with the presence of what you want, meaning, the man of your dreams exists. Absolutely. If you exist, I believe so does your perfect counterpart. So do millions of men who would be a great match for you. If you're not resonating with that, he literally can't show up. Or if he does, you won't even see him because everything's going through this filter of your beliefs and your perceptions, which are often coming from past experiences. Does that clarify it a little bit better?
Yeah, I love it because it's the truth. I was just telling you before this interview, there's this quote that I repeat to myself every single time that I'm about to up level, create something new for myself. And I've always got to remember the energy of my come from. Consciousness precedes form, and I got it from Michael Bernard Beckwith. So it's powerful because if you want love, when you're in this energy where maybe you feel desperate or you feel anxious or you feel lacking, that's what you see manifested at the end. Like even when the man shows up, you don't feel good because you didn't learn how to like manage your energy, feel good about yourself. So it's important to learn how to feel good about yourself, know that you can have it, know that you're good enough. And when you own that, then that's when the man shows up because the consciousness precedes form. I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say that you want to think about how you want to feel rather than the condition that you think you need in order to feel that way. If that sounds a little confusing, let me explain. A lot of people think, well, once the guy shows up, once my love life gets on track, then I'll feel complete, then I'll be really happy and feel secure. And it just never happens because you have to feel those things first. Give those feelings to yourself first and radiate them out. That's what will attract them back to you. That's what will, have you attracting the kind of men and experiences that will assist you in feeling that way. If you're stuck in this energy of frustration and discouragement and constant disappointment when it comes to your love life, that's where you can get stuck, right? And you just keep attracting more and more experiences that assist you in feeling that way as well. So rather than thinking about, okay, what needs to be in place in order for me to feel good, just try making yourself feel good. The clients of mine who meet their husbands really quickly, like within the first 3 or 4 online dates or within the first few months of us working together, they all have a really similar thing in common. Couple things that are similar. One is they're like, I'm just going to go out and practice. I'm just going to go out and have fun and practice being in my feminine energy, practice opening up to a guy and not shutting down. They have something they're just going to practice versus the ones who are like, I'm going to go out and meet 100 men and strategically find my Mr. Right. So that's coming from a masculine energy place and it leads to burnout. The other thing they have in common, the ones who meet their soulmates quickly, is they go, I just started having fun with it. I started just going out and, feeling all sparkly and just having fun and letting men give to me. Those are the ones where the right guy just shows right up. It's pretty interesting how it works.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that came up for me just now, I was just like, so where does that come from? Where does it come from? The person who goes at their dating life and they feel like nervous, are they gonna get it? or are they not? They're thinking about the logic, like the logistics, like how many dates do I have to go and participate in, and they get frustrated. I think it could really have to do a lot of times with the fear of losing something.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to an energy like of lack, like, can you elaborate a little bit here? And the reason for this is because it's important to understand yourself, not necessarily overanalyze it, but to really understand yourself so that you can sometimes just let go and move on to that different way of being where you said, oh, I'm just going to relax, like kind of like, of course it's going to happen, or I'm just going to practice. In a more relaxed state, it tends to happen more. That doesn't mean that you don't work on yourself. You do it, but the energy it tends to be more confident.
I love what you said. This is why I love talking to you so much, because all these new ideas come up. What came to me when you said that is trusting and allowing. These are very feminine energy qualities, very important, crucial for this feminine art of attraction thing that I'm talking about here. If you're trusting and allowing, these are feminine energy characteristics. You just know for sure that the right guy is going to show up, right? Versus if you're up in your head, if the idea that's coming to me is like grasping. If you have a scarcity mindset, you're kind of grasping at straws, like this man might be my last chance, so I have to hang on to him, right? Or something like that. And you know that if you've ever tried that, that just pushes the man away. The more laser focused you get on him, the more you're leaning forward, trying to strategize and lock him down into some kind of commitment that maybe he's not ready for right now. The more he's going to want to back up and create some space between the two of you. Versus if you're just trusting that the right man for you is going to want to pursue you all on your own without any prompting or pressure or strategizing on your end, you're going to be in your feminine energy. You're going to be leaning back, enjoying yourself, focusing on yourself and your own life, and allowing the right man to step up, allowing him to pursue you and come towards you, if that makes sense.
It's perfect, because I always see that there's this balance. A lot of people say, well, why do I have to do this work in the first place? Right? And it's not I have to, it's an I choose to, because I want to love myself so much, that I want to be willing and open and available to create my very best, life, the one that I want. I want to be a student of love. I want to grow in that sense. And when you come at it from that energy, I find that things just flow more naturally. So what happens when a woman, she realizes that she's had this energy of grasping, she acknowledges that she had an energy of lack about it, and let me control the scenario. How can a woman, because I hear that when we have a habit of wanting to control things, the one of the toughest things for you to do is actually to learn how to let go, like let go of the idea and or the belief that made you want to control in the first place. So how do you have any practices that can help a woman have more willingness to let it go, to relax, to allow more, to trust and allow more in her life?
That's such a great question. It's something I haven't really even talked very much about before. So I love this. If it doesn't feel good to think about it, just don't think about it. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this because I can be a very kind of OCD, control freak kind of person. And I was like the most stuck in my masculine energy kind of person there. So if I can shift this, anybody can. I know you can too, anyone who's watching. So like I mentioned, every time you think about something, any subject in your life, we'll go with your love life because that's what we're talking about here today. There is the presence of what you want and the absence of what you want. So when you think about that, if you are resonating with the absence of what you want, like I said, it can't show up. So if it doesn't feel good when you think about it, just don't think about it right now. Think about something else that makes you feel good. And that is what's going to like raise your vibration, so to speak. That's what's going to help you match your beliefs and your energy to your desire, which, probably includes an amazing relationship, right? So this is a really strong statement, but it's something I've heard before and really found to be true. And I'm actually a big fan of strong statements like this. If you have a desire for something, let's say a great man, amazing relationship, if you were to never think about your love life again and just your main focus was being happy, making yourself feel good, feeling fulfilled within yourself, it's my belief, it's what I've seen in clients, that man and that relationship will just roll right up into your life, and it will just be the most easy and effortless thing. But what are the odds of that, right? What are the odds of I want this relationship? And what happens is you think about your dating life. You think about all the men you're attracting online who aren't quite right for you. Your attention to what's going on right now is often preventing you to getting where you want, because you look at something, there are things you want and there are things you don't want. So you're focusing on that. You're giving all your attention to this mixed bag of presence of what you want, absence of what you want. And if if you were to just go, you know what, I'm going to have a great life. I'm not going to think about this right now because it doesn't feel good when I'm thinking about it. You would be able to attract what you want much more quickly. And Nicole, I'd love to hear what you think about that.
I agree, because the energy that I get from what you're saying, it's you're exuding so much love. It's not an energy of like, forget men, I'm just gonna love me in a sense of like you're pushing men away. It's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna love myself so much that in that energy I'm exuding so much love, then of course I attract that sort of like big love to me, right? So instead of actually constantly noticing the absence of it. I mean, I am the type of person that says if you notice an absence of something and you know you want it, then start working on getting it right from a really joyful place, right? Start visualizing, start doing whatever it takes from a really joyful place. And that way your energy is always coming from a place of fullness rather than control, rather than fear. And you just gotta be willing. Like the secret here is to be willing to drop whatever story is in the way. You gotta be willing out of love for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you're feeling terrible, that's not the time to visualize and try to force yourself to feel good. Do you feel how masculine energy that is? I am somewhere where I don't want to be, so I'm going to do all these things to try to force myself somewhere else. And I would say, just forget it. Just do something different. Take a nap, stay off the subject when you're not feeling good. It's, when you feel good and then you can do some of these things, then you take action from an inspired place where you're just like in alignment with who you are, that supercharges this. If you're not feeling good, just stay off the subject completely. Think about something else. Play with your pet or your children or something. Go outside, just take a walk, do something that makes you feel good. It's really important, really, really important. And there's, so many reasons for this. My background being in psychology, again, when you focus on something, you create this feedback loop in your subconscious mind, and you end up drawing it towards you. So if you're focused on the lack and what you don't want, like I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, you're going to just create more and more and more of that. And so I always say, focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And if what you don't want is just dominant, stay off the subject until you feel better, or just stay off the subject completely until you start attracting some better experiences.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Like just learning how to focus on what you want and building all the cases and reasons of why you can have it. Not from a controlling space, but just deeply from loving yourself. Knowing that you're worthy. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And we know what I love about talking with you is that whenever you and I talk, it's like, it clearly shows the importance of actually doing this work, right? And not just winging it, right? Because it comes so charged with feelings and emotions that sometimes we do not see things clearly. But I mean, who knew that when you focus on what you don't want, it creates a feedback loop in your mind, unless you watch something like this, right? It's just important to get to know, yourself so that things can actually really change. So thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have any last message that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, just bringing in, because I know I'm sort of known for like feminine energy and things like that. So if you just think about it, when are you most magnetic and attractive, right? When you're feeling good, when you're coming from like the fullness of who you are, or when you're fearful, second guessing yourself, walking on eggshells, trying to get something from a man so that you can feel okay, right? Very obvious. When you're trusting and allowing and just just knowing for sure that things are unfolding exactly how they're supposed to, and the right guy, of course, is on his way to you. you're just much more attractive both to a man and to your desire of what you want. So it ties in so well with everything I teach in terms of feminine energy and leaning back. So I hope this was helpful for everybody.
Thank you so much. Do you have a gift for the audience to help them with this?
Yeah, absolutely. I have my free report and audio training. It's called 3 Keys to Attract the Man You Want. And it's a PDF and about an hour-long audio where I go really deep into some of the concepts of feminine energy and attraction. And basically, it's like the work is on yourself and your own blocks to love so that the right guy just shows up and it's completely effortless. So hopefully that will give you some tips that you may have never heard before. That's the feedback I get with that one. I've never really heard that before. So that will give you some new insights, new ways of looking at this to help you get what you want in your love life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing and for being here. And I hope that everybody enjoyed this. Definitely get the gift. We learn a lot from Helena, and I can't wait to hear and read the comments. Thank you.